People power growth, but recruiting and onboarding are expensive, exhausting, and absolutely overwhelming. I've been there, and it doesn't have to be this way. Welcome to Hire and Empower. I'm your host, Molly McGrath. Join me as we interview leaders who care about their teams and distill powerful lessons from them. This show is sponsored by H&E, helping organizations to find their best hire and empower them for success. Learn more at hiringandempowering.com. Okay, guys, this is our mindset coaching for January, and I am so excited. Like, I'm not kidding you. I think I'm going to cry. Like, to have my amazing coach, Sara Connell, here. It's been 1 year, Sara.
I know, it's our anniversary, Molly.
I know. And I can tell you all, for the team members, listen, this message is for you, whether you're an employee, which I hate that term, if you are a team member, which you are a leader, and I am making sure that you, by the end of this 12-week, are the greatest leader where you're making the money you want, the bonuses you want, having the fucking confidence that you want, just owning your world and holding your head high and getting out of bed every single day and saying, I can't wait to go to work, because it's not a job. It is a passion-driven purpose that I'm so grateful and thankful that I get to do. And if you're sitting here as an entrepreneur and the attorney as well, this is your opportunity to burn the boats on all the excuses of why you can't write that book, why you can't launch that podcast, yada, yada, yada. And Sara, yesterday you said something so great about excuses. Dang it, I can't remember.
Oh, well, I know, because I probably needed to hear it myself, which what we're playing with in our community in Thought Leader Academy right now is not being seduced by the excuse.
I put that in the chat yesterday. I'm like, oh my God, that stopped me in my freaking tracks. Like, it was so good, so good, so good. So guys, first of all, I'm going to say, I want you to put your email in the chat. If you're listening to the replay, email me or Nia, who's here, your email address, because you are going to want to get on Sara's email list. And here's why. Sara, the amount of teaching and training and coaching that you're doing, Alex sent the agenda. I'm like, holy crap, is this girl sleeping? And right now we're doing a 10X challenge, that today's day 2. It's so exciting. And you want to get it, you can get exposure to Sara constantly, consistently, and you want to be on her mailing list. I am so sick of all the email crap that I get all the time. And I'm just going to say this and I'll get off my soapbox, but Sara brings the value. Like, her unwavering mission for everybody. A motto we have in Thought Leaders Academy is, I can and I will. Watch me. Watch me. So for your team, for your attorneys that are like, I can't get to this, that, what have you, all of your attorneys have a book in them. And Sara has helped me in 12 months. I have become a contributing author to Forbes Coaches Council. I have completed my manuscript. Done. Wrote my book in 12 weeks. Sara told me that. I'm like, girl, there's no way that's happening. It is done. There is a fork in it, and my manuscript is done. I'm so excited. I am working on my TED Talk right now. Everything that Sara has promised me, she has over delivered on. So today I want to share with you, for Sara just to do her magic and her riff. You want a pen, you want a paper. And I will tell you, Sara, you are my favorite check I get to write when I see that I pay you, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for every single penny, because you have changed my life.
Thank you, Molly. I'm so honored. I'm going to be emotional. It's our anniversary, and to be here, and so honored to be with your community. I see you as a phenomenal, because you are a phenomenal leader and a powerful presence in this space. And I'm so excited to be with everyone here today. We're so lucky to get to take this time. And Molly knows this because we're in the middle of our 10X challenge at Thought Leader Academy. But for everyone joining us today, this is the week that almost everyone in the world gives up on their goals and visions. Everyone got all excited in January, right? Maybe you made a goals list, or you made a resolution, or whatever that looked like. And then by this point, all the research shows 92% least of Americans just say F it. Also, I love, don't we all love how Molly swears? So we can just say, they push the fuck it button, right? And they say, and we get seduced by the excuse. That's why we're talking about that yesterday, because we think, oh, it is too hard with the time, or changing my food, or writing that book, or whatever. And look, I got to do that work too. That's why we position these trainings exactly. So Molly very wisely put this for you all right here in the hinge point, because this week determines your destiny. Honestly, for 2023, if we can be real, this is a week that will determine your destiny. And so for all of you, whether you're the team, and we don't ever use employee at our company, everyone is a team member. We work with, not for anyone in our company. We don't do that language, because every single one of us is a leader. We work with each other. We're integral to the greater vision. And if you're an attorney and the owner and leader of your company, what I've designed for us to go through today is a process that's going to really raise us out of any last vestige of maybe comfort zone, playing small, seduced by excuses. We're gonna really make a jump to be part of the 8%. There's the 1% that always gets talked about in terms of finances, but the 8% of people who are actually going to do what Molly just did in the last year and write the book, create her TEDx talk, increase her revenue, become an even more, powerful, impactful leader, launch a course here serving you all. Like, it's so powerful. So thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'm fired up about what we're going to do over this next hour. So I'd love to hear everybody's number one desire this year. You could call it a goal, a vision, a desire, whatever word resonates for you. What's that thing that's at the very top of your list? Like, if it was a year from now, January 2024, and you had to say your biggest win of last year, this would be the thing. Let's just take a minute, because it might not be right in everyone's minds. We can kind of take a breath, or you could just, write a few ideas down and then put something in the chat. I'd love to just see and presence these goals and just kind of see what we're working on. I know it can be scary to admit this too. and there's research out of Harvard, which is fun, which is that when you write down a goal, you have an 80% more likelihood of fulfilling it just from writing it down, even that one time. So this is doing something for you.
This is what I'm hearing from people. So I do an intake and a survey, and for the team members, they want the confidence to ask for a raise. They want the confidence to ask for the money that they deserve. There are a lot of people in this program that are living, like, we talk about paycheck to paycheck, but their paycheck isn't even enough to cover what they need on a monthly basis. So finding the courage to create value and communicate value and ask for what they believe they are worth. It goes for the entrepreneur too. We talk a lot about this in Thought Leaders Academy, being able to increase their fees.
Yes.
They're always looking at competition. What's everybody else charging? I can't get away with that. My clients can't afford this. Asking for, walking in there confidently and asking for what they want.
Well, I'm excited because I've got a couple step process for asking for the increase. If you're the employer, so right, I'm the CEO, right, and my company, the visionary. So for me, it's about a strategy of giving myself the raise, right, which is, it's always a mindset first, and then there's a strategy. So let's do that today, Molly. We're just going to put that in what we're going to cover today, and I'll give everyone a framework of it. I'll give you a framework that truly, in my experience, the people I've coached who've asked for more I think it's been 98% have gotten it. It's high, really, really high if we do these couple things. So, okay, better work-life balance, spending more time on the life part. I love that. Absolutely. Well, let's do this too. What's the biggest challenge? Because this is sort of the yin and the yang, right? You have the vision, the desire for the increased salary, the focusing more on life instead of working all the time. It's a huge one. And then what's the biggest challenge? So is it the confidence, to ask for that increase? Is it the empowerment to set boundaries between, like, when we turn off work. I'm certainly working on that all the time, right? As Molly said, I'm great. I get excited. I want to do a lot of stuff. And then it's like, oh, it's the weekend, it's time to be off. So if anyone, again, you can do this anonymously directly to Molly, or you can put it in the chat. And if it's the challenge for your team and your employer too, that's good to know. Let's just presence the goals and the challenges so we can be guided on what we want to cover. Because I'm gonna tweak a few things just to get in this asking for the raise. I'm excited.
I think so one of it is just actually opening your mouth and saying it out loud without bawling, breaking down and actually bringing your emotions with you. Yes. So how do you even have that conversation? Yeah. Especially when you're hit with resistance and say, like, no.
Yeah.
How do you handle that?
Yeah. Because the owner, right? Me being in that role, sometimes they get triggered, right? It's suddenly like, oh my gosh, people want more. I just did this. I just did that. It's like, it's a tricky thing, right? There's a lot of stakes and a lot of emotion. So that's okay. And having a healthy team, awesome. Okay, that's really good to know. Yeah. Healthy team. That's interesting too. Like emotionally healthy, physically healthy, like positive environment. I'm not sure if you want to expand on that at all, but I think that's a huge challenge and opportunity. Like the health of our teams, how we are communicating healthily and we're interacting in a healthy way, having boundaries in a healthy way. These are such juicy topics, everybody. Thank you for sharing. So let's do this. I'm going to open up. Some of us are visual learners. I like to see and hear. So I'm going to just, I'm going to go through a couple of things that Kirsty's here on our team with me today. And speaking of healthy teams, we're working on it all the time, like having a fantastic relationship. And so I'll take you through just some visuals, we kind of guiding our conversation. But what I'm going to add that's not in here is the framework to the mindset and the actual steps to ask for that increase. That really worked for me and others. Okay. Any other ones, Molly, that have come in anonymously that we just want to witness and presence?
Nope. That's the theme.
Okay. All right. Well, I love it. Let's go to it. We're talking about 2023 being an opportunity. 10X is just the terminology for a quantum leap, right? It's like not a slight tweak, a little tweak. It's like, this is, we're talking about making a really big jump, whether it's in your income, your work-life balance, the health of your team. And our motto is you can, and you will. And as Molly said, watch me. Okay. You can, and you will get that raise. You can, and you will have a healthier team. You can, and you will, if you're the owner and the attorney, you can, and you will charge more so that you can have more balance and give your team the things that's going to help them feel really fulfilled. And, I really like to focus a lot on using assets like Molly talked about, books and TEDx talks and being a Forbes contributor and what we call thought leadership in order to make those revenue and impact jumps. And so for those of you that, that feels exciting too as well, you'll get some examples of that. So we're just going to pop through. We talked about this, right? Your biggest vision and goals for the year. We've clarified as a community here a lot about more money, more revenue, more abundance, and more balance, and more health. I mean, what wonderful goals, prosperity, balance, and health, like absolutely phenomenal. And there's a saying that's uncomfortable, but I think we need to name it, that we must be willing to release who we've been to become who we're here to be, to become this new vision of greater health, balance, and abundance. And I use the word abundance, just, you can say prosperity or revenue, whatever resonates for you. And why is it important? To me, it's so important to remember we've got to release, like if you've been a person that's been scared to speak up and advocate for yourself, you get to release that part of you that hasn't felt empowered, and you get to become empowered in the way that I'll show you in this framework, to go in and have a really enrolling, collaborative conversation about what you want and what you deserve, right? Or again, to set better boundaries or to have more health in the team. All of this is really about empowerment as I think about it, right? Like, it's really about being empowered, whether it's to set the boundaries or to create greater health or to ask for the increased revenue or give yourself, if you're the attorney, that increased revenue. It's empowerment, right? So good job on naming those. So it can be useful just to take a moment and pick your top one. If it's the raise, the health of your team, the balance, what will be different when this is your reality? So maybe for those of you that said, I think it was Rosie that talked about work-life balance. Rosie, does that look like you end work at 6 o'clock every day? You're not checking email at night. You're not checking in on the weekend. Just let's put some identifiers and qualifiers around what's different when you've achieved this new goal. Not worried about work when you're off. So when you're with your family or with doing yourself time, that's what you get to be focused on. Yeah, that's a huge distinction. You could also say, what's the best part when I'm making more money, or I have that time off, or we have a healthier team. And then you can expand if you want to on who else benefits. So those of you that are going to be, when it's your family time, it's your family time. If you have children, how do they benefit? Or if you have a partner or a pet, or maybe your home is really organized and filled with love and you're not neglecting it, or, so who else benefits? What's better for others in the world when you have this goal? And if anyone had an insight that surprised them as they got into this, these journaling on these questions really helps me stay committed to the goal, because I realize that it is important and it's going to benefit more than just myself, right? It's your office. If it's the healthy team, everyone's going to feel more excited to come to work, and they're going to be more motivated to give their best and come up with really great ideas. And then the people you serve benefit, right? So it's like a chaining effect of, in Thought Leader Academy, we talk about everything is a win-win-win. It's a win for you, a win for the person you're in that negotiation with, and a win for the people you serve. So we want to start thinking about a win-win-win mentality. So we don't think our goals are selfish. And that's part of what can give us confidence to go ask for the boundary or the healthier team work or the raise, because you see it's not just for you. It's actually a win for everybody. All right, really good job, everyone, sticking with that. So we want to look at the obstacles, because there's a lot of research that actually shows that the obstacle is actually the way or the portal to the solution. And I'll explain what I mean about that. And then we'll actually, I think during this, talk about the framework to ask for that increase in revenue, right? We also talk in our community about the answers we seek are in the room. So it could be the virtual room that we're all in now. It could be the metaphorical room, wherever we are existing in life, the answer's here for you. So meaning we don't have to worry about, is there a solution? There is. It's just, there's a phenomenon even in nature when there's a poisonous plant that grows in the earth. The research shows that within 12 feet of that plant is the antidote to the poison. I mean, isn't that, I just find that, I don't know, you can put me in the chat if you find that amazing. I think that's the coolest thing in the world. And what I think that means on a metaphorical level is that whatever obstacle or challenge or pain that we're in, that our solution is at hand. It's no further than a few feet away. And I just get really excited by that, because then we don't have to be afraid. So let's say one of the obstacles is asking for that raise is, you're in the past, your employer or your, the leader of your team has not been open to it, or gotten really angry, or shut you down, or something like that, right? It's like, okay, cool. So that was then, but there's a solution in the way that, you're going to show up differently, and in the way that a new moment gets to be co-created, and there's a solution there, right? The answer's in the room. So I just find that so comforting. So we don't have to be afraid of the obstacles, because typically what happens in our brain, and you can say, let Molly know if this is true for you, is that if you think there's an obstacle, we just shut down and don't try. And I'm not going to make anyone raise hands because we're not all on video, but I'll raise my own hand. If has that ever been you, maybe just in the anonymity of your own space, you can acknowledge, has that ever happened where you talked yourself out of it before you even went for the shot? You thought, oh, well, they haven't been open in the past, or, we've tried creating healthier communication, or a no gossip policy, or having wellness practices that when, people weren't open to it. They did. So what's the point? Like we talk ourselves out of it instead of realizing that the past is not the precedent. We can create a new experience in every moment. So this will sound kind of weird, but let's all take a breath just to remind ourselves that like every breath is actually the creation of a brand new moment. So we can even use the breath as a reminder, like call it in certain mindset work, like NLP, an anchor, right? So you can breathe and say, okay, this is a new beginning. This is a new moment. And the obstacle is the portal. So what we want to do to bring forward that solution is we want to make 2 columns. I don't have these written in columns, but if you take a piece of paper and you draw a line down the middle, if you're doing handwritten in a journal, just a vertical columns, or if you're typing, just, put a tab, on the left side of your page, just write down the 5 reasons that your mind says you can't have that goal. You can't have the healthier team. You can't have the work-life balance. You can't have the raise. Or if you're the owner, you can't have that increase in your rates. So let's just go ahead and go for it. This is just the part of you that's like, no, you can't. No, it won't work. Okay. So you can add to that if you've really got a big streak going of all the reasons you can. These are just the reasons you don't have it yet. Right. And so now you can, on the right-hand side of the page, just pretend like a game how you would give a friend advice to solve that challenge. Now, I'm going to give you a framework for the raise part in a few minutes, but right now, if it was a good friend who had this challenge and said, I always get emotional when I try to speak up for myself and I start crying. Let's say that was a challenge in the raise situation. It's like, oh, okay, well, if it was a good friend that had that, I would say, why don't we role play it? And we'll do it over and over and over until you've gotten it out of your system and you have a muscle memory of doing it. And like, that's one way we would solve for the fear of getting emotional, right? Or I'm going to use Sarah's framework that she is going to share with me in a few minutes. And I'm going to know that I'm going in talking about, solutions and facts. And it's not going to be about my emotions at all. And if it's the healthy teams, it's like, oh, my team hasn't been open. They don't even want to have a healthier team. They're sort of just set in their ways. Maybe you could say your future self is a way of thinking of, the part of you that's already solved this challenge. Or again, what advice would you give to a good friend that you love? It's like, oh, well, I would get them excited. I would find a book about a team that really transformed and show the benefits to revenue and their joy and retention. And I would really make like a logical, practical case for some of these healthier practices we're talking about to really like enroll everybody in the vision, right? So let's just spend a few minutes, take each one of those 5 things that you wrote down, or however many you wrote, and just if you had to come up with a solution for a beloved friend, what would you do? All right, let's try that out. And as you're brainstorming and creating these solutions, just let yourself see if you start to feel a little bit of softening around some of the energy around the challenges. Just notice if you feel a little bit differently inside yourself in terms of confidence or empowerment. You may or may not yet. You're doing great either way. Whatever stage you're in of the process, you're doing amazing and you're making progress. And then just as you write these solutions, just notice the one that excites you the most. Like, is there one on there that you're just like, wow, like I could really see myself doing that, and just kind of circle it or star it if you're handwriting, or highlight it if you're on screen. Just notice if there's one that stands out, as an action step you really might take coming out of today's mindset training. And if there's an insight that you're having about, oh, I really do know what to do, I'm just scared to do it, or I didn't realize that I actually have some next steps that I can take right now, even though I thought I did. If there's any insight, go ahead and make a note of that as well. And let's try that breath again to just create the new beginning. Like, whether you feel like you got an action step yet or got a solution yet or not, remember your answer's in the room. So by coming here today and showing up for this program with Molly, you're going to source the answer. You're going to source the solution. So they're either going to come now or they're going to come as a result of you showing up here today. That's my commitment to you. And I know that it happens because we have that commitment in Thought Leader Academy, and it works, right? The answers come. And so we're gonna talk now about, like the third sort of step in this process. We have our vision, and then we release, and then doing, the action is the antidote to fear, which is a really interesting concept, right? Because so much of the time it's, oh, I don't have the confidence to go have the conversation, so I don't have the conversation, but we're going to get in action, right? You brainstorm some solutions, and I'm going to give you that framework now as an action step that you can consider either using as instructed, directed, right, as prescribed, if we use that funny language, or it could be as it might help you think of a way that you're going to turn this framework into something just perfect for you. So one of the things that I always think about, whether I'm the leader of the company raising my own rates, or I'm a team member going to someone about an increase, is the first thing we get to do is inside ourselves. And we get to really enroll ourselves in the raise. Again, whether it's a self-created raise as the owner or a raise from someone we're working with, we get to really enroll ourselves in the raise. And we do that by raising our standards. Really, really owning our worth and value in a bigger way maybe than we have before. So this requires some really kind of black belt mindset work. This is your mindset training for the month, right? Where we let go of, what do other people make? We let go of what people at another firm makes, or what do other attorneys charge, or we really get to self-validate and co-create something instead of be reactive. We're going to be proactive instead of reactive. And one of the tools that I use to do this, because easier said than done, is to make what can be called, let's call it your badass list. Okay. You can call it your rock star list, your badass list. This is where you remind yourself by writing a list, and it is powerful to write because it's going to tap into a different part of your brain to write this out, the amazing contributions that you're making, either again to your clients if you're the attorney, or to your team and your company if you are on the team. So that's going to be a homework for everybody, but I want everyone to think of 3 right now. What are 3 real tangible contributions that you have made to your organization or to your clients, if it's about raising your own rates? And I would love to see some of these in the chat. I know it's really uncomfortable to do anything that feels like bragging, but this is honestly a necessary thing to enroll yourself in this. Now, these can be physical, tangible things, like maybe you had an idea that saved some money off the bottom line. You found a way to be more efficient and sped up a system or process. You went out and did some networking and brought in a new client. If it's yourself and you're the attorney, like you innovated a way to be in your practice that differentiates you from other people in your particular area of specialization within law. So what are some things? Maybe you show up every day with a really positive attitude. That in our company, it's actually a core value of our company, is like the energy we bring to each other and how we show up together. That is not to be discounted. So these can be tangible things that either saved time, saved money, created more opportunities. It can be things like your attitude. It can be ways that you created fun and camaraderie that made people want to stay instead of quit. So if you had any contribution that led to retention, that led to loyalty, that led to people, producing, contributing more. So let's just take a moment and write down 3 contributions you've made that really are, in your gut, if you heard someone else saying that they did that, you would feel like, wow, that's a really terrific contribution. And keep breathing, because this is the hard part, right? This is why we don't ask, or we don't give ourselves that raise, because it feels uncomfortable sometimes to do this. Okay. Now, once you're going to keep that practice up every day if possible, really noticing and building a case and writing down, you want to document, because this is going to be part of your conversation. Whether it's your conversation with a client about why you're raising your rates, or whether it's a conversation with the owner of your company about the raise, right? Or whoever makes that decision, human resources, whoever it is, right? So you're going to want to build a case. It's perfectly appropriate for this community, right? You're going to want a case build for your contributions. This is why we get things out of emotions, right? And there's a lot of research that women get really emotional, like I really need a raise because I had another kid, or it's like none of that's on the table. The way that you can feel more confident in this conversation is to focus on your contribution. And if you don't feel like you have a lot on that list yet, I would make the next 3 months your absolute number one, no holds barred, playing all out to be a powerful contributor to your clients if you're the owner of the company, or to your team and your attorney if you're on the team. And just build the list. Either pull things you've actually already done, or get really, 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 really committed to creating contribution. Make it a game. Yeah, no one is going, it will repel your raise if you make it about a personal need. Even if you've got a great person you work with and everyone's really loving to each other, it's not what's needed in this conversation, in my experience. What's needed in this conversation is a powerful demonstrated case of your contribution, your value, your commitment, your loyalty, your passion, your absolute, like, and again, if that's been lacking at all, no judgment, just make that your next 90-day goal. Every single day, what do I do today that contributes to revenue or efficiency, camaraderie, retention, whatever the big goals of your company are right now? That's your mission. And you're gonna document. I want this written down. Like, you can keep a notes file in your phone and just document every piece of that contribution that you're making. Because when you go into this conversation, first of all, you're going to be enrolled because you'd be like, holy, I'm really making an awesome contribution, or I have been. And then you're also going to have tangible, specific evidence to share with the person you're having the conversation with. Again, it's same if you're the attorney, right? Because you're going to talk to your clients and say, we're actually providing this, this, and this, which is in addition, even in our program in Thought Leader Academy, many programs like ours, coaching communities, just went all virtual. We host 2 in-person conferences every year that are included for our members that we spend, multiple 6 figures on, to make them transformational and exciting and powerful, and have people make connections and have breakthroughs and make more money with each other and all the things, because we really want to create that deep community, those really lifelong connections, those huge breakthroughs that happen in person. So that's like a thing that's different than a lot of companies in my space who just said, F it, for all the reasons that Kirsty and I know, because we're working on our next one. And so it's a lot, right? It's a huge investment of time and resources and all the things. And to us, it's so completely worth it, because we see what happens for our people, and it's so worth it. So case building. Okay. Then what I'm going to offer to you after you've done your case building for the significant contributions, and make sure that these align exactly with whether it's the clients, if you're giving yourself a raise, what their priorities are, or your owner of your company or your HR person, whoever you're going to have this conversation with. We can think, if your company values positive energy and teamwork, then put that on the list. But if they care just about money, then tie what you're doing back to how it's helping increase revenue, how it's helping save money and change the bottom line. We want to tailor the case building exactly to the conversation we're going to have. Even though those other things are super important, we want to make sure that it matches up with the goals of that audience, if you will, the person we're having the conversation with, the clients, if it's our company, or the person making the money decision, because that's going to help them check the box, which is going to bring us to the final piece to seal the deal. In my experience, the final piece to seal the deal, if it's about more money, is to show how this will pay for itself and then create profit within 90 days. Now you might say, I don't know how to do that. And that's where you're going to come for your coaching here. That's why you're in this program. That's where, or you can hire a coach to help you figure that piece out, or you can get together with a buddy from this group and brainstorm if you don't want to, make an additional investment. But that is going to be almost impossible for someone to say no to. If you've demonstrated the contribution you've already made, you're coming in with that confidence because you case built for yourself, you're lining it up with their key priorities and goals, and then you show how it will create revenue or save money or efficiency, like whatever the piece is. Who would say no to that? Picture it, right? You come into someone and you show all this great contribution. You're in this really powerful energy and you say, and by the way, I'm asking for, X amount more a year. And my plan to have this pay for itself within 90 days, pay for my raise, or this, if it's with clients, it's like the way that I know that you're going to increase your financial results or your, whatever your results are, even more when you invest this more money is this. When you create that plan, it's going to stretch you. You might think, well, I'm just this role. How would I know how to pay for it? You get to get really creative and really resourceful because the answer's in the room. You can and you will. There is a way, and you're going to find a friend, a mentor, a coach, somebody to sit with you and create that plan. And when you've created that plan, what would someone be saying no to? They recognize your worth and value. They feel your confidence and power, and they see the plan for how this is a win for the organization at large, or if it's a client, for their vision. Now, some of you might have just taken yourself out of the game, because I've done that before. If someone creates a framework like this and I go, okay, I was kind of tracking with you on these, but oh, well, just pen down. I don't know. But listen, stay with me. You can and you will do this. There is always a way. There's always a way for you to source the right person, organization, idea, book that's going to say, oh, here's how. And Molly, we could do probably a whole training, maybe you have that on just like how you showcase, how you demonstrate how your raise will allow you to either contribute more, if you're in a client attraction role, if you're in an efficiency role, whether it's, making that new, like there is a way that will contribute to the goals of that company. And then no one will say no. Whenever someone has pitched me in this way, it's always been a yes. Every time. What would I be saying? It's like, why would I not do this? This is an incredible plan. If you have a great relationship with the person you're doing this with, whether it's a client or someone, making the decisions, you could even come in saying, I don't have a plan for how this pays for itself in 90 days, but I would like to create that with you. If you've got someone who's collaborative in that way, if you've got someone who doesn't have time, they're not available to have that conversation, you're going to source it elsewhere. So I want to pause for a minute, Molly, and let people, I'd love to get just a pulse check. Do people feel like, forget it, I can't handle that part? Or do people feel empowered? And that, I just love to kind of to check in here. You may very well still get the raise with doing the first parts, which is reminding yourself of all the great contributions, starting to contribute and case building for it. Many people get raises or increase their rates just by showing value. But what I wanted to give you today is the fail safe, like the unstoppable yes, in case that opens up some possibilities. Okay.
Sarah, one thing I want to just really, really highlight that I love, you said that you must be enrolled first and foremost. You must be enrolled. And if every damn day, you are anchoring into how you make a contribution, whether it's on the employer or the team member side. If I'm going in, like the value that you create. And I know firsthand, because we work in this in Thought Leader Academy, you're just unwavering about it. you show up completely different, even from day one to day two. When you're looking and you have your pen and paper, like you said, guys, I cannot tell you enough about putting pen to paper and how that just gets into your bones and your blood. And it just solidifies and amplifies and elevates everything. But if I'm looking and I'm asking myself just even this one question, like, where am I creating value today? Starting your day and ending your day with that and capturing it. Like even the strut from your desk
Yes.
to your car is going
Yeah.
to be different, right?
Yes, Molly, I love this. And let's not forget power posing. You can watch Amy Cuddy's TED Talk on YouTube for free, 2 minutes in the bathroom before you have this conversation of Superwoman pose or Oprah pose, it's called, or, I call it the Usain Bolt, crossing the Olympic, line and running gold medal. That changes your physical body chemistry. It'll increase your testosterone, which is your confidence hormone. It'll lower your cortisol stress hormone. But like Molly said, the way people used to say, like, believe in yourself. And I'd be like, how do I believe in myself? But this gave me a structure, document, focus on. And by the way, whatever we focus on grows, that's a law of the universe. So when you're focused on your contribution, it's going to expand and people are going to notice, like you said, you might get the raise just by focusing on contribution. Like that, absolutely, it's happened many, many times, right? So if that's where you are, like focus on that piece. And like Molly said, you'll start walking to the car, be like, I am a freaking badass, like I am awesome. I make a difference here. I make a difference today. Even if you don't feel appreciated, a lot of times what stops people is they think, well, no one cares, no one notices, like that's painful. It's painful to show up in your best. I worked at a really abusive job out of college. And I showed up, I gave I just brought it all, my heart, my soul. I was like doing my best work. I stayed late. I came early. I worked weekend. I did all this stuff. And I got like treated criminally. I mean, really, I had a lot, wish I knew you all. I could have made a lot of money in lawsuits and just be on the beach somewhere right now. But like, I didn't raise my standards. I let myself be treated like crap. I didn't acknowledge it. But the problem is I wasn't acknowledging it. So we got to start inside, whether we're the attorney or the leader. Lizette, you just asked if you just onboarded. Lizette, what's so exciting about just onboarding is you make these first 90 days epic. You really find out. I would add the first thing I'd want to know, and you might, of course, already know this if they've done a good, if the onboarding has been really well done, you'll know what the key driving desires of that firm is right now, what your company is, like what matters most to them in 2023. And then I would just focus on any ways, even if you think they're small ways or new ways, like any ways you can contribute to that. And just start getting creative, read books, listen to business podcasts, come to Molly's trainings, really start talking to people and just saying, what's created. Again, is it about efficiency? Is it about flow? Is it about culture? Is it about money and revenue? Yes. So I love if you're in your first 90, you're going to go in there like a freaking rock star and just blow you're going to be like, who is this woman? Like, how are we so lucky we hired Lizette? That's amazing. Yeah. So just all of us, and you'll, like Molly said, you'll have a swagger, you'll know you're awesome, you'll believe in your worth, and it'll be very, very easy to keep emotions. It's not personal. You're just like, look what I'm contributing and look what I'm going to contribute when you give me more opportunity. And you get this increase, and it totally, who feels like this is a game changer in some way for you today? Like we all, especially if you're the attorney, right? You're in my role in my company. It's like, we need to do this for our clients. I'm always thinking of like, how can I get bigger wins for our people? How can I hook up our clients? How can I make their success faster, more fun, more huge? So contribution is just, all of us at whatever role we're in is such a valuable place to put our attention.
It is, Sarah. And I just want to highlight when you said have fun and gamification and gamify this. If you can just let go of the outcome and the heavy and the hard and just embrace the ease and flow and the of this, guys, I'm telling you, we talked about miracles and expecting miracles. You just even hold your head higher and you anchor and you leave this class today and say, I know the top 3, 2, 1, even one thing of where I create tremendous amount of value. You're going to look different. And I would bet my bottom dollar by the end of the week, there's going to be a surprise waiting for you somewhere that you never anticipated.
Yes.
How you show up.
Yes. Yes. Mindset, people, when peak performance and sports performance started becoming a big thing in the 80s, people would say it's like 80% mental, 20% physical. I think mindset's 100%. I think once the mindset's right, the rest is just going to happen. And
Yep.
so really take Molly's leadership here on this. Like again, by the end of the week, someone's either going to notice you differently. They're going to, oh my, thank you. You're going to feel appreciated. If I had done this at that company, I think my experience would have been transformed. I really do. I think I would have really attracted different experiences, but I was walking around broken and feeling unworthy. And, then that's what I got. Right. So I want to do one more. I want to give an example. This is just because it's my world, but you can translate this and talk to other people, talk to other superstars in your field. It doesn't have to be in your firm or your company, like women and men within this group. Like who did get a raise last year? How did they do it? You can learn. Success leaves clues. So you can kind of find out too, like what are the, and believe me, you don't have to be stuck to norms. It's like, oh, they always give 5%. Not necessarily. You come to someone showing huge contribution and how you're going to make a plan to make an even bigger win for this company. They'll throw that metric out the window. I've done it before. I've given people way bigger than like some kind of, micro, whatever, when they've been able to say like, okay, here's what we're going to be able to do together. So just an example, like I want everyone to look for multipliers in your organization, meaning what's one action or asset or project that could yield multiple wins. So again, in my world, what I help people with, as Molly said, is let's say your attorney, whether you're the attorney or you're on the team and you recommend this, your attorney publishes, we have many lawyers we work with. Your attorney publishes a best-selling book, right? You say, I'm going to make it easy. Like Molly said, it can be done in a matter of weeks. It can be laid out based on their teachings, their methodology, what you already do if you're the attorney. And that's the multiplying action. But then the results might be so exponential in so many different things. Like you might stop having to repeat the same things over and over, or your attorney does to clients, because here's the book. And when someone knows someone wrote a book, they think, oh, immediately they're more credible and more trustworthy and more knowledgeable and more of an expert. So you sort of own industry leadership. If someone's comparing attorney, we have one of our Thought Leader Academy clients is a collaborative divorce attorney. So it's like, once she writes the book on it, she now, if someone's interviewing 3 people, but she's got a book out that kind of has her methodology, she doesn't have to explain everything. They're already all bought in. They're like, I want you. And it saves her time and it makes her more money because she's the more credible, visible, seen as the expert in her niche. You can 10 times your leads because that book, if it's done right, I'm saying right in terms of, if it's done strategically, the book will in itself attract clients. I don't know how many of your attorneys are wanting, and those of you that are attorneys are wanting more referrals, but that's a lead generator, right? And then like Molly hosts a podcast. Molly's been on many podcasts. You get asked to speak in the media when there's a case that comes out, or there's a cultural event that comes out and you're an attorney in that niche. Molly's doing her TEDx talk next, right? That is another like a book where, suddenly you're now the superstar attorney or firm in this niche or in this industry sector. You've got more visibility. Your team up levels, you get to have more time off. You get to have more support because the revenue's coming in, the referrals are coming in, the leads are coming in. We've had people 2 times, 3 times, 10 times their revenue, with like one multiplier. And then you can just keep scaling if that's the vision of your particular firm, or just have it be less with more prosperity. You select high, perfectly curated clients, make more money doing it. You pay everybody more. And so that's just an example of like multipliers. And I know we've got to wrap up here in a minute, so I'll stop the share there for a sec. Thank you, Kirsty. I know she'd keep me on time because we have our next meeting. But that's just one example because that's my world. And we will gift all of you. I know I told Molly, any of you or your attorneys, any of the team members or attorneys that want to learn how to double, triple, or 10x your revenue, we have an event on February 10th. It's typically like a $500 workshop on how to double your impact and income with a book for your firm. And we'll gift tickets to anyone in this community that wants to come to that. So you are welcome to come. You can just, if Kirsty, Molly can send you the email to our team. We'll comp your tickets and you can come. It's virtual. You don't have to fly anywhere or drive anywhere. But if you want to put that asset in place, of course, you're more than welcome to just come to that training and learn how you could do that. But there are other multipliers, right? It might be going on podcasts, whatever, but just the bottom line as we finish, what is the biggest goal that your company and team has, and be in contribution to that, document that contribution so you remind yourself, and then you go in with such incredible confidence and passion to that conversation.
Confidence and passion, guys. Yeah. Sara, I know you are on stage all day today. Thank you so much for being part of this. And listen, team members, I want a book out of your attorneys this year. Like Sara said, there are many attorneys in this program. You are a thought leader in your industry, and it's going to support you so you're not repeating the message over and over again. And I'm really excited. I'm excited for everybody to make the impact and the income that they want this year. We all deserve it. You can and you will, period.
You can and you will. Yes, you can and you will. Absolutely. And I'm happy to send over those slides. Molly, if people kind of just like those as prompts, if you feel like you want to take your other team members through this or your attorneys, feel free. And then we'll get you tickets to February 10th. If you'd like to, anyone wants to attend that event.
Great, Sara. Thank you. I know you're hopping on another stage, and I'll see you in an hour.
I know. I'll see you there. Okay. See you, everybody. Great job. I'm so excited. It's going to be a great year. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
We've reached the end of another impactful conversation on the Hire and Empower podcast. Whether this was your first episode or you're a longtime listener, I know you can tell I have passion for people. Whether you're a business owner, employee, executive, or hiring manager, I understand the situation you're in. Hiring, onboarding, and leadership is expensive, exhausting, overwhelming, and if that's not enough, it's also time-consuming. My friends, it doesn't have to be this way. There is a team at H&E that has your back. For over 25 years, they've transformed over 4,000 law firms into efficient, effective, profitable assets for their business and made it fun to come to work again. Check out our Smart Hire solution, our employee leadership program, and the 66-day law firm turnaround at hiringandempowering.com. This episode is being sponsored by Legalese Marketing. Listen, law firms have many ebbs and flows, and we tend to see this typical pattern. When things around the office are slow, lawyers get better at following up. But when the bustle is back, they tend to drop the ball. What if you had a system in place that not only automated follow-ups, but could guide potential clients seamlessly through the intake process and beyond? The team at Legalese works with your firm to create a custom pipeline of emails, text messages, and follow-up calls sent to your leads when you want them to be sent. Whether it's a consultation confirmation email sent a minute after the request goes through, long-term nurture emails sent 6 months later, a request for Google reviews sent to the most opportune times, they put a system in place that improves your client experience while taking tasks off of your plate. Or maybe you're already rolling in a software or CRM, but it's not set up as you want. Or perhaps you could be maximizing your automations more. Sometimes it's hard to tell what you need without a deep dive into your account. That's where Legalese audits and analysis come in. First, their team will learn everything about your processes and how you intend them. Then they'll go through your automations and map out the needed changes. Lastly, you'll discuss a plan forward and how to make your optimized office a reality. Legalese team pushes the boundaries of what automation can do to help your firm operate in ways you think were possible. Don't let potential clients slip through the cracks by not following up with them. Schedule a consultation today with Legalese Marketing. They look forward to helping you create more time, consistency, and your KPIs. To learn more, go to legalesemarketing.com and book your free consultation call today.